I think it means we proved it can be done.
It's great to see a smaller community emphasize the importance of this vessel so much.
We did come together to do this. It can be done.
Actually, I've been very pleasantly surprised with Ashtabula. She's a small town, but we got here and everything was all organized.
And I like all of the Ashtabula Underground Railroad, activities, because that is a fantastic history that we should be proud of.
It was an event that brought together the history of Ashtabula County with the story of the Amistad.
This was not just another street fair. This was cultural in nature, educational in nature. The focus was very much on our heritage. You say this is something that many people can really relate to. The connection between the Congregational Church of 1839 and the Underground Railroad all just was a natural fit, because we had both the Hubbard House and the Second Congregational Church and many other congregational churches here in our county that had actively participated in the escape of slaves from the South to Canada. So it was ideal. Well, the first step was to go out and see how deep the water was in the Ashtabula River in the harbor, because it's a great idea, to bring the schooner here, but can you handle it is the question. So that was the first step, and of course the cooperation of the Port Authority, the Ashtabula Port Authority, was very significant in the very beginning of this. That was the very first question.
Hold out, hold out. I got to hold out, hold out.
One of our real objectives here was, because the Amistad its meaning is friendship, it also provided just absolutely a solid opportunity for education.
As a revisit of the Amistad 1839 incident and the Ashtabula County Underground Railroad of the 1800s unfolds, listen for the parallels to see what the two historical events have in common. I thought it would be interesting to try to find some parallels or connections between the two, and I felt our people would be more interested in it if they knew the Amistad history and the Ashtabula County history.
As early as 1815, escaping slaves were being helped through the Western Reserve. Some of the earliest centers in Ashtabula County were in Andover, Cherry Valley, Hartsgrove, and Rome. There were 5 main lines from the southern county to the lake.
1823.
The first recorded escape. A man, his wife, and 2 children were spotted walking down Route 45 headed to Lake Erie.
Not only was the story of the Amistad shared on the ship itself,
They were sitting on cargo down below, 49 adult males down below, and the 4 children were allowed to sleep on deck.
And on the regular slave ship,
On a real slave, on what was considered a slave ship, they would be on what you could consider a shelving system.
history came alive around the harbor with visits from Joshua Gibbons and Abraham Lincoln. Walnut Beach hosted a Civil War era campground, complete with cannon. Visitors could also view a reenactment of the Supreme Court trial that set the Amistad slaves free. Even before reaching the Amistad, visitors were treated to a cultural, historical, and educational journey all along Bridge Street. And the music never stopped.
Ride on, no man cannot hinder me, no man cannot hinder me.
So here's a man and he's asking a girl, why? Why?
Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, Jesus gave it to me. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, Jesus gave it to me. Oh, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Sweet chariot, coming forth to carry me home.
I enjoyed the Overland dancers, meeting those kids, those college students. I feel safe for the world if most of the kids are like that today, because they were so wonderful. It's a mixed group of African Americans and white kids working together, and just their, their general. They seem to respect each other and they get along, and that's how the world should be.
I had just come off Music Man under Darrell Lowell, and so that was so exciting that I figured that maybe we could use some marching bands ourselves right down Bridge Street. Now, on all these other ports, have you enjoyed these marching parades as much as we've enjoyed, having them for you? He says, Bruce, We've never had a marching parade before. And so we gave them 7.
The first time I knew about it was when I read about it in the national newspaper of the United Church of Christ in the year 2000. They announced that they were going to make a Great Lakes tour, and so I called them at that time. Well, we began having informational meetings to see who would be interested in working on this project. And I was very fortunate that Bruce Hearn was available to serve as the host committee chairman. And Bruce put in countless hours and many meetings over a year's period of time, bringing together people that could help or support or were interested in some aspect of this. So I took on the responsibility of the fundraising side, and Bruce took on the administrative side. And between the two of us, we were able to build opportunity for people to be a part of this.
It was an awesome weekend that was very successful from the very beginning, because Amistad's mission statement is they want people to get together in friendship. And I think we did here in Ashtabula from the very beginning, because there were both races there from the very beginning, and we sat down and came up with these activities and things together.
Activities for the weekend fell under 3 themes. Friday was for education.
And so as education, our primary objective was to get students here of all ages. We met with the superintendents 3 different times. We met with the county principals once. We met with teachers how many times? And there were countless number of phone calls. And the success of that is that we did get 4,400 people approximately through the schooner during the 3 days. And of that amount, 44% were students. And that is extremely high for any port that the Amistad visits.
You take people, they come on board the boat, and then you leave them with something. It's like a little seed to grow in their brain, and to know that you're actually making an impact in the communities that you go to, it's extraordinarily fulfilling.
I was a high school history teacher for 3 years. I taught 2 years in Mississippi and a year in Chicago in different school settings, and always included the Amistad incident in my history, world history and U.S. history teaching. So know the story well. To give a general kind of take on the story, our take, and why it's important today. I mean, we kind of keynote that it was the first human rights case in front of the Supreme Court. Really, I just think it's a dynamic story, and it happened 20 years before people actually think about ending slavery in, U.S. history. So
Saturday was for the blues. Sunday was a religious day, complete with shipside service.
Now, Lord, we pray that the bringing of this Amistad schooner here will bring about more love and fellowship among all brothers and sisters.
For us. And one of those is to say, I will celebrate our differences. It's not good if we all merge into slices of Wonder Bread. We're not. It's beautiful that Nero is black and I'm like, well, getting increasingly pink in the sun, I suppose. But those differences are superficial. What's important is that we are brothers and sisters in Christ.
Yeah.
We can convey to them that we are indeed Ashtabula, the promised land, where sincerity will come from our lips, where honesty will come from our character, no matter what the hue of our skin is, no matter what the ethnic background that we come from, or no matter what part of the country or world or part of the county that we come from, that this is home, and it's the promised land that God has given for you and I to be good stewards of.
If I could just have everybody's attention just for a moment. We're gonna board you very shortly, but I just have some quick safety considerations that I want to discuss before you start going on board.
This is called the forecastle. This is the space where the crew sleeps. We have 9 bunks for crew down there, space for 3 or 4 people to stand up. It's basically a place for us to sleep out of the wind and weather.
We still run the boat like a commercial vessel would. We have modern safety standards, modern safety equipment, modern navigational equipment, but the boat itself is traditional in appearance and in propulsion. We do sail her whenever we can. A lot of what I do is not traditional. It's except for moving the boat through the water using the wind. That's really it. Sailing a traditional boat, though, is very fulfilling. We carry cargo, but the cargo we carry is a message.
Can't go down there. That's where we sleep.
Yeah.
That's a private place.
You wouldn't want anybody to see your bedroom, right? What do you think?
You can go down if you can clean for us.
I'll leave them here for a few hours. How's that?
I'll clean for you.
Of course, no event can get started right without the appropriate opening ceremonies.
It'd be a new day of understanding and education. We thank you for this schooner, for all of its importance to us and all that it has brought about already. And so as we cut the ribbon this day, we ask your blessing upon all who have participated and all who will participate, that many may learn the story of freedom with justice.
This one included the Gettysburg Address, the ship's captain receiving the key to the city, a proclamation from the county commissioners, and of course, the ribbon gets cut.
Ashtabula has been incredible. I feel like I'm at home. I'm welcomed everywhere I go, and that's not even when I'm not wearing a crew shirt. So they've it's great to see a smaller community emphasize the importance of this vessel so much.
Actually, I've been very pleasantly surprised with Ashtabula. She's a small town, but we got here and everything was all organized. Oftentimes, particularly with the big cities, it's just a fire drill every time we walk in, trying to make sure we've got power, we've got pump out to pump out our holding tanks, water nearby so we can ship on fresh water. And we got in at 1 in the morning and we had somebody waiting here with a power cord. It worked. It was just the right connection.
They loved it here. Many of them remarked about it. In fact, we received an email just a few days ago from Amistad America commenting about the crew's comments, their reactions to Ashtabula, the sense of welcome, the sense of hometown acceptance, the feeling we'll go back there if we ever have a chance.
There are many firsts that we did for Amistad America. One of the ones that I am proud of is it's the first time ever that a CNI dog got through the Amistad. We also on Saturday evening had the Civil War reenactors actually take the flag down for the captain and fold it in proper naval procedure. That was a first.
The Ashtabula events became a type of model for the whole Great Lakes tour, even though we were the last on the list on the way out of the tour. We still provided for them a sense of organization and acceptance and welcome and support that was unmatched anywhere else they went.
The other thing to remember is that an infrastructure has been left for you as a remembrance of the Amistad. One, there is now a 3-man bicycle patrol which will be permanent to the police department, which was paid for by the Amistad. And secondly, you have all of the cleanup in the harbor area, from the extent of the dock, the grass, the flowers, the grass, the hill, you name it, and it's an opportunity. And also remember that we painted fire hydrants, we painted buildings, we painted railings. All of this can be done. And most of it was all volunteer work. You can do it. We can do it.
It shows that people can work together, cooperate, and work on a project together of this high magnitude and make it successful. In Ashtabula, if they learned anything, they learned that we can get along.
People are good at heart, and we are all longing for great unifying things in our neighborhood or in our hometown. We see the national news, we see great national events, we see great symbolic things happen in other places, but for it to happen here in a way that was unique and very non-threatening and very rewarding and very enjoyable and fun was unique. And so I think it means we proved it can be done.
And there were plenty of thanks to be handed out to many people.
We ended up with between 150 to 200 volunteers throughout the entire area for the 3 days, and I've not heard of one incident of a volunteer having a challenge with a visitor.
I wanted to talk about the positive press that we had. Carl Feather and Star Beacon, they gave magnificent positive press, and so did Melinda Francis from the Gazette and Sentinel. It was superior press. That was one thing and the ACN television too. They did a good job with the press. Everything was positive.
Obviously a tremendous sense of gratitude to so many people, hundreds of volunteers, the sponsors, the major donors, all of these people who made it possible, the great cooperation of the city and the various departments of the city, the county commissioners' support, the county agencies, the Tourism Bureau. All of these people deserve tremendous gratitude and thanks. Especially would want to thank the Ashtabula Foundation, which was the major donor for this program, and also a Second Congregational Church, which is near and dear to my heart, who said, okay, we'll go along, we'll do this, and went forward on faith, never looked back. I thank all of those people.
It's not a textbook story. There's not always room for every aspect of history, and it's most often left out of the textbooks.
And I wish we could just take this day, this weather, and just bottle it up, so that sometime in February in Ashtabula,
no matter what ethnic background that we come from, or no matter what part of the country or world or part of the county that we come from, that this is home.
This was not just another street fair. This was cultural in nature, educational in nature. The focus was very much on our heritage